Hey everybody, I'm Luther, co-founder of the Bardo, and I'm here with Thomas Jockin, a professor at UNG for Visual Arts program, and he'll be discussing his salon discussion that he is hosting here in March on beauty.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be part of this, of the Bardo, and have this opportunity to host a salon discussion with you all. I think it's going to be a really rewarding experience.
Yeah, I think it's really in alignment with what we're trying to create here as a community. And especially us partnering with more artists around the city who are in and or starting to get into their career path, to bring them into the space, to show them, and just kind of create community around the arts and discussions. There's not a lot of communication within the Atlanta art community, kind of in making them intersect together. So I think this is a good way to kind of start that foundation within the city.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's important because the whole point is that beauty is a topic we take for granted a lot, right? It's actually one of the most important things in our lives. And people dedicate their whole lives, right, to making art, right, to have some relationship to the beautiful in some way. But it does seem like we don't have many opportunities to talk about it. So when I saw you were asking for programming, I think the power of a dialogue salon style event is, I think, a great opportunity to have that hosted here at the Bardo. I think because we don't have the opportunity to really investigate what is beauty, and I think it's one of the things I'm excited about is giving a space for artists, and that's the whole point. Not just the artists to have a community to talk about it, but also anyone who loves beauty, which is everybody. I mean, because that's the whole point, is that beauty is something I'm sure everyone watching this can understand. The most powerful moments of your life come from beautiful experiences in some way.
And I feel like it's important to have a discussion on beauty, especially with so many multi-dimensional ways of thinking, and kind of share the different perspectives surrounding by beauty.
Yes.
I've always kind of lived by that saying, like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I think when we come together as a community to discuss beauty, it's like, oh, like, you like the color green. Well, I'm not really a huge fan of it. I like more like blue, and kind of like realizing that beauty is so complex, and that it's really more about the feeling that beauty inspires within us.
The reason why I'm having us do this discussion salon around Plato's Greater Hippias is because the entire topic is on what is the beautiful. And the two dialogue members don't come to an answer. and what you're bringing up is probably one of the regional reasons why I think beauty is such a challenging topic to talk about. It's already very difficult to talk about truth and goodness, but beauty even more so, because of that we have this kind of opinion or viewpoint of personal preference, that beauty is a kind of personal preference. And what I mean by that is, he's in an example, like, you don't like green, I like green, right? Things like that. We can go really mundane about it and say, like, your favorite ice cream flavor. Like, the beauty, we seem to think it's like of that quality. And it's not to say that doesn't exist, it totally does. But the question is that the totality of what the beautiful is. And that's what the participants in the dialogue, both in person together, we're going to do at Bardo in March, as well as the character Socrates does with his interlocutor, Hippias, is about those questions. Because it seems so obvious, and seems like either completely dead obvious, everybody can see, or we feel like we have all this disagreement, almost like we're like going to pass through each other and not have any way to understand each other. The answer might be something in between the two, and that's what I'm excited to, I think, worth exploring and investigating together.
Yeah, I think it will bring about overall acceptance. It's like, meeting in that middle ground is a state of acceptance of, like, perhaps the differing and or the similar opinions surrounding the concept of beauty within society as a whole, and then, like, accepting the other perspectives within that, and just appreciating the beauty of life as a whole. So I'm really excited about this discussion. I've never been a part of a salon discussion. I've been a part of, like, small community discussions, but never with, like, this much intent and with this type of programming built behind it and curriculum. So I'm excited to be a part of that, and just kind of further my knowledge and, like, my community, and communicate with people that I haven't communicated with within the city of Atlanta. So yeah, thank you so much for coming to us with this idea and being a part of the Bardo.
I really appreciate that. I think it's important to talk about the programming format too, because I think I taught you privately about it. Like, this is not about me giving an opinion, like this is my opinion, bro, and then this is just the dictation of what the experience is going to be. It's not about that. A proper dialogue format is about eliciting it's almost the example Plato uses in some of his other dialogues, is he's a midwife of ideas, of people's souls, that he's helping birth out these ideas of people out of themselves. So I think I was telling you off the record when we first met about this, the importance of that. It's not about, like, when you bring up this idea of, like, basically, it's like an abiding with each other. It's like you get to be in the presence of one another, to see different perspectives, to kind of get a better articulation of your own point of view. Because that's the whole, we don't realize until we start trying to articulate what we think, how much we may not understand ourselves.
And also the challenging of certain views that we may not even really agree with, but maybe perhaps were put on us by society as a whole, but without the discussion of going back and forth with someone and being like, wait, hold on, like, actually, I don't know why I'm holding on to this concept.
The big thing about the dialogue, the one we're going to be reading together, or reading segments of during the salon discussion, is the character Hippias is this arrogant sophist who makes, literally one line is the idea that he is the best philosopher because he makes the most money. He's basically the Andrew Tate of ancient Greece. Like, Huxler, sophist, basically. Like, he was basically this person with a gigantic ego who claimed he knew everything and could tell everyone how to live their lives the best possible. And then systematically, he's demonstrated to be a fool. He thinks he knows, but he actually doesn't understand at all. Once someone starts asking him questions about what is something, he says so simple, like, Hippias says, you're asking such simple things. Of course I'll answer that, no problem. And then he continually fumbles the ball massively because he keeps failing to answer the question properly. So yes, I think that's actually a very important part of it.
Wow.
But I think even just being able to just reflect, because a dialogue session like this tends to have 4 modes. There's reflection, just the act of reflecting off what you're thinking and what you're experiencing from the dialogue segment, let alone reflection of what everyone else is saying. Then there's affirming. You can affirm what's being said by both yourself, the dialogue exchange, or the members of the group who are speaking. You can also question, right? You can basically draw a question. So like some kind of ambiguity or something, you said X, like something was said, but you're not sure what that means. That'd be an example. And you can challenge too, right? Now it takes a lot of trust to be able to have that kind of environment to do that. But when people are coming for the right reasons and you create the right space for that, yeah, you can do that kind of those kind of interactions in a dialogue session. I think that's very important, and that gets the best kind of birthing experience, right, of a better understanding of what beauty means to each individual.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about how the discussion is going to go?
Yes. So the way it will work out is that I selected 4 major sections from the dialogue on Greater Hippias. They're about 5-minute sections about. We'll play them out loud so that everyone can listen to and see. I'll have text on the screen too, so people can see what's being said as well. The text will be available as a public domain, so anyone can read it prior to coming to the event. That basically mini section will play out. Then as dialogue lead, I will summarize what's said, and then open the floor to the group, right, okay, to reflect, affirm, question, or challenge what's being said. And my job then is to summarize. So my job is to be a mirror, basically, where I'm basically going to be actively listening to what's being said and basically grab the essence of what's being said and reflect it back to the participants who speak.
Okay.
At the end of, basically probably have 3 or 4 people give testimony. I like that framing. It's like we're giving our testimony of what we're experiencing at the moment, right? I'll summarize what I heard as a whole group, and then we'll move on to the next dialogue session. The next part exchange to talk about.
Okay, cool. And I think I saw something about a pizza party.
Yes, there will be pizza. Yes, a good festivity does have good drinks, right? I know you guys have. I'm really excited to work with you guys because you're non-alcoholic beverages. I think that's really nice. But yes, we will also have pizza at the end. Nothing bonds. You mean how much food and drink bonds people together, especially after you do an activity together.
Yeah.
Something that's an activity of kind of deep intellectual thought, like a dialogue session will do. So yes, there will be pizza as well.
I think it's important that community breaks bread together.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that like the bonding behind a meal